Hi everyone, you're listening to the Vialucci podcast, uncensored and completely unedited discussions about life and everything in it. We hope you enjoy the show.
I'm genuinely knackered.
Already? I've been here 5 seconds.
Well, I've been up since 4, so...
Fighting?
No. Oh, no.
Since for doing what?
Work.
Okay.
The magazine, the bloody thing. Oh, that's post-production talk.
Oh, okay,
I just remembered something.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show.
Do you think you... No, I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
What?
No.
He does this all the time.
Does he?
No.
Because I'm going to forget.
Anxious.
So I'm going to forget. So, I know somebody called Tatjana, but you've got a J.
Yes.
So how do you put? Is it silent?
It's Tatjana. I have no idea why the J is there, but it's Tatjana, yes.
I had a crush. My first crush was watching the Olympics, and I can remember the name of the...
Linford Christie was a handsome man, it has to be said.
Oh, it was before that. I'm a bit older than you. But thank you very much for the... it was Tatjana Gutsu, what do you call it? Gymnastics.
Gymnastics, so the leotard thing.
No, not that. Just like a kid. It's just for some reason her face. But I met a gymnast once when I was working in a club.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't training at the time. So, I was just sort of manly strength, pushing, shoving people around. And then she come up to me and she said, oh, so-and-so, yeah, that's the gymnast. And I shook her hand and I went, oh, like the grip on her hand. And I'm like in my early 20s.
Yeah.
And it was strong. And I thought,
It would be though, wouldn't it?
No, that's what I mean. But I remember thinking, oh, right.
Yeah, it's like rock climbing.
That's not a joke. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're holding up and swinging around on one hand and you're sort of throwing shitty dumbbells around and somebody's like been on one hand for a year, you go, oh, right, that's a proper grip. And that's from a small woman.
And is that what did it for you?
No,
So is that
no.
what you put in your Tinder profile now that you're free and single? So you're going to see, gotta have a firm
No,
Olympian
there's no
grip.
Olympic date. What do you think of online dating? How did you two meet?
Oh gosh, I
Roughly.
I rented a car park space to him, and that
Oh,
was
so it wasn't online. What do you think of online
No.
dating?
I went through a whole phase of online dating. I was obsessed with it. And particularly when I was pregnant and single at the time, I went online dating as a pregnant woman as an experiment to see people's
Really?
reactions. Yeah, that was quite fascinating.
And
A
do you
lot
put-
of weirdos.
So you must put it in the profile.
I did, yes.
Wow. And people came back saying what?
They offered to be baby daddies. They said this was the fetish of theirs. They've always wanted to be
No,
dog.
that... I
Yeah,
think like
yeah.
it's very noble.
Don't use the word
like,
fetish.
I'm quite happy to, raise a child and and that's very noble. But it's like, oh, I want to be, and then it's...
Yeah, so...
And I think some guys, they think this a threesome.
Oh, this has gone well.
Yeah, that went dark quickly.
Yeah, I think they thought, I will never tick that box, like whatever I do in my life.
Yeah.
So this is the only way I will tick that box.
I dated a girl who had a kid once. But
What,
then,
inside of her or
no,
outside of her?
It was like 2 years
She had
old.
a kid once and then...
No, she had a kid.
Yeah.
And my brains are still scrambled. But she had a kid, and the kid was 1 year old. But then I was with her for about a year. But then when it broke up, it was like breaking up twice. Because
Yeah.
I get attached to kids, and I thought, oh, don't ever do that again. Which I don't want to say because it's not right.
Yeah.
But I thought that's a thing to deal with. It's not like, oh, we got a kid, doesn't matter. No, that's a thing to deal with. I felt really bad for the kid afterwards as well because I got to go home.
Yeah, and they become your little pal and all that kind of thing,
Yeah.
isn't it? So...
But then what do you do the next time? Do you go, well, I'm not dating anybody with a kid? Because then it becomes like...
then you just end up with a world full of single mothers and,
Why don't you just
Nothing
have your
bad thing,
own?
but-
Because then you have access to it.
No, I think
mean-
you've got to meet the right person first before you think about having a kid. Because I've never been married or had a kid because I thought, I'm only doing it once because I come out a family.
Very narcissistic.
Exactly.
I know, because I came with my family, it was a bad example as a family growing up, like a bad example. And I just thought, I'm not getting married. And I thought, with kids, the person first before anything about a child. Because I remember, because I didn't get married, then by the time I was thinking of it, everybody I'd known had got married and divorced.
Yeah.
So I'd had by accident, I stood back and seen it pass, and then see people turn to hate, which I was thinking, my God, like, how did it go from that to that?
Mm.
And then I'm thinking of where I grew up in the family. I'm thinking, it's not a little thing. So if I go on a date, that's a big deal if I go on a date. That's not, oh, well, let me see how you are. No, it's got to be something that's, oh, okay, I'm going to like this person. But I remember there was one person and they hated each other, and there was a child between the two, and the woman would like turn up to sports day in like mini skirts and high heels to annoy the husband. And he said to her, and I'll never forget this, he said to her, you're trying to embarrass me in front of your child. He said, and this stuck with me, he said, you should never hate me more than you love your child. I nearly got emotional.
Yeah, that's true.
He said, so that's what I'd always think, no matter, if you're with somebody and it goes wrong and you've got a kid, you can't hate that person. Because whatever you do to her, you're doing to that child. You're in a bad family, you're hitting the woman, you're hitting the child. Cheating's the same thing. Never in my life cheated on anybody. 15 years working in nightclubs, never cheated on anybody. It was a big thing. And with kids, you are cheating on your child. You can touch it up how you want. You're not cheating on your wife, you're cheating on your child as well.
It's the whole family, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah, but that's not a little, that's what you are doing. So, how did we get onto this? Right, should we just change the stuff? You know, what was your name again?
I've got a quick question though.
Yeah.
That's obviously you're in your 20s, right? And so obviously any woman
right answer.
you're going to be dating is going to be in that sort of what I call reproductive phase.
Yeah, so that's the problem I've got now because
So they bring their biological clock on a date.
Yeah.
Or they have issues, or they've had 10 kids by 20 different fathers, or there's always either a baggage or this desperation.
Yeah, I know somebody that, again, I was working in a club and she was a career woman. I don't want to say what, but she owned a business. And she was literally went out looking for people that she'd never looked for before, like dating, never went clubbing, to find a guy. And I liked her, but I thought, how dare you put I want a child before that? Because we've had this conversation before about people having kids. I don't think you should be allowed to have your own kid. I think you should have to adopt first, then have a child. Because what you're doing is you're jumping over.
We've had this argument before.
It just makes sense.
But I agree. You have to have a license to drive a car. You have to have a degree.
I don't know. When you put it like that, it sounds worse. But I just mean morally, there's children there. If you take all the emotions out of it, just in terms of people, there's children there that have been abused. So there's not like just normal. They've been abused. So people need saving. But you're going, yeah, I get it, but I want my one first that looks like me. And that's what to me is like, I'd sooner adopt first.
But then if you're adopting a child, they must have had a certain trauma. They must have.
Yeah, but that's more the reason to adopt first.
Do you really want a fucked up child to bring up that's going to hate you and then murder you in your sleep? Because his father was a murderer.
That sounds like what I would say,
yeah.
And I've learned better. No, but then you go, okay, but now think of that child, didn't want any of that. Like that child didn't ask for it. So what do? You're compounding the problem by saying, "Sorry, you're damaged." I know it's not your fault.
But it's nature versus nurture. There's always a combination of that, of course. But equally, you're trying to do the best for this person, but ingrained genetically, they're born to kill or something.
No, but no. You're going to very small extremes. If somebody's just been, they've run away from home, maybe they were being abused or something, and they don't want nothing to do. I ran away from home, so you don't. Then to take that kid and go, right, go into a home and nobody's coming to get you. Why? Because of what was forced upon you. That's, to me, I can't get over that.
What's that film we watched, The Orphan? Oh my God, it was
horror?
Horrendous. Yeah. It was this child that's pretending to be a little girl, but she was 30 and she was getting passed on to different families.
Do you remember that? Did we cover that? The news thing? Do you know what I'm thinking about?
Yeah, I can't remember. That happened in real life. There was some...
Right, so get this. Yeah. Get this, right? This is like a couple of years ago. This American family adopted I think she wasn't Russian. There was I can't remember where it was.
From one of the former Soviet countries.
So
anyway,
the kid, I think she was like 8, tried to kill the wife, right? Tried to kill her. I think it was like stab her or something like that. She then told her she hated her and she was going to try and kill her again. But the family were very good. They had adopted her. And they were like, no, therapy, blah, blah, blah. Tried it again a couple of years later.
But what was the killing process?
It was like she tried to stab her, like doing something, right?
Jesus.
Turned out it was a midget. She was in her 30s.
No. See, The Orphan, the film The Orphan.
That's what you said, I thought.
Yeah.
And she actually turned out she was 30 and she went to jail. It wasn't the child. She was pretending to be a child to get over here, or over there in America. I mean, it's genius in a sort of sick bitch way.
It's very...
good on you, but
it's a little bit Hitchcock, isn't it? It's a little bit Twilight.
But to do it, I mean, if somebody said you're a midget, you're not getting you're not coming over. You're gonna have to stay in your country and do whatever.
Would you adopt her? Would you be so kind-hearted and adopt the midget? I mean, the killer midget.
Can you say midget?
Oh my gosh.
I don't know,
because I don't know what's going on out there, so I don't know what you can.
LGBTQ plus midgets.
I think the thing is, I don't know what the term is. I believe little person, I think, is now the accepted term, which but to me, I think that sounds... I've read that.
Because it's the fact of, I'm trying to not say what we both know I want, so I'll say
But if there is a condition called dwarfism, so that would be someone who has dwarfism. Yeah. They're not. The term is you're not a dwarf. You have dwarfism.
Right. Let's get this back because that's going to go nowhere. What were we talking about? No, I wouldn't adopt a murderer. But that film, you should not have seen that film because it's ruined this conversation. Most kids come out. No, let's keep this light. After last week, bloody Hitler and death camps, I was trying to bring a bit more levity to the show. So you are Russian?
I'm Russian, yes.
Whereabouts?
Moscow, but I moved from Moscow when I was 12 to Sweden, and then I came to London when I was 20.
Oh, so what do I know? I learned some Russian when I was on the film set. Spokojnej nocy.
Spokojnej nocy. Good night.
Good night.
Film set.
Yeah. Well, I started to do filming, like film something as a director, and I realised I'd never actually filmed anything, so I better learn how to film stuff. So I sneaked onto a film set, like we were talking earlier.
How do you sneak into a film set?
Well, I pretended I was just going there for a job.
Okay.
Yeah, I pretended.
That you were 8 years old.
I came on as like driver security because I had a license for driving lorries. But they ended up taking over the catering and taking over this because they were doing it all wrong. So I'd say, why this doesn't work?
That's what you want on a film set. You're doing it wrong.
They had to refund. They were getting robbed. Right, I'm just there sitting there. I'm just here to watch.
Yeah.
To go right. I'm not telling them here for just. I'm here just to learn. Like who does what? I don't know anything, and I need to film something, which we did. And I've never done it, so I need to know something. So when I was there, the food was like a joke. They were feeding them crisps and chocolates. And I left it for about 3 days. I thought, I'm not saying it's not my thing. I'm just here watching. But it got so frustrating. I'd say to the guy, listen, let me sort the catering thing out. They got robbed, like proper. They were turning up with like, anyway, it was basically a con almost. So it's
like weddings, isn't it? If you had the word film, if you had the word
it was
wedding
a joke.
To anything,
they weren't even turning up on time. They were bringing handmade.
Do you know the
sandwiches.
question on my mind is that he's got some time on his hands.
Who?
Breaking into a film set.
No, I got a job there. I had to take work time off.
No,
but I needed to film something. I didn't have to do it.
Just walking down the road, nothing to do. Let me just break into.
No, I did say to
reorganize everything.
Well, when I wasn't breaking, I was hired because I said to somebody, get me to the film set. Don't tell them what I do. No. Obviously, I'll tell you what though. Out of everyone on the whole film, I was the only one with my own room. I said, no, that's not happening. So everyone else was sharing to save money.
What film?
There's about 30 of us. Oh, I don't know the name of the film.
And this was in Russia?
No, in England. So look, this is getting way. Don't ask questions. Look, I needed to film something, but I didn't know how to film stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to be in charge. So I said to somebody, get me a job. Just don't tell them anything about it. Just tell them I'll clean anything. I'm not bothered.
Yeah.
I just want to watch. So anyway, then they were doing the filming. But then I said, you can't give them chocolates and crisps. Oh, it's cheap. And I said, right, listen. So I had to do the shopping and I got fruit and I got low GI fruit, low sugar fruit. And I said, don't tell them to come up here. Every hour I will come down to the food because people, they know it's coming. So mentally you can prepare. And then they have the food, it's low sugar. They got this, they got that, they got tissues. It's there. Then I leave and then I'm coming back in and out because people are getting hungry and walking off. And where's so-and-so? It was like madness. So I ended up doing that. And then I just took over the whole bloody thing and it worked.
Did you get paid?
Yeah, I still got paid. Yeah, it was fine. It was nice. It was a really good location. It was like a sci-fi thing. But yeah, that was what I was talking about earlier before we started. I was talking about people needing more people than they think they need for the magazine, for the whatever. There's about 30 odd people there. And I'm looking, you need 7 people here. All these people aren't needed. And it's another relationship you've got to deal with. So this is why people don't do stuff. Because you've told it's this big thing. No, it's not. I had this conversation with Ellie, funny enough, and I was saying...
Ellie, your ex, the one that dumped you.
No.
I'm enjoying this.
Hang on, listen. But what I was saying is, like, people
you can come every week.
Listen, people don't do things because they see this big thing in front of them, and it's all bollocks. Everything's been overcomplicated. It's easy. When I went to put the magazine together, and I said, "Well, you don't know how to do this," and I'm thinking, "Well, surely I know that person and that person. We do that," and then it got done. And people say, "Well, how could you do it?" It's I think the guy valued it. It's about £230,000 worth of contracts. He go, yeah, I was working at night in the factories when I did it. I'd never done it before because I hadn't grown up in all this crap. So I just went, right, I'm working in nightclubs all my life. I know what you need and what you don't need. So I'm just going to use that mentality to do everything else. And it worked. And then when I did the filming, I said I was worried about that. I've never done it before. I don't know who's who. So let me go and see. And then I just went, well, he's not needed. Why are there 3 people there? Why does he need an assistant? Oh, this is why people don't do stuff, because you need £30,000, £50,000. So the guy, when we finished, the director, I was talking to him, And he was getting a bit emotional because I dropped him off. I was moving all the sound stuff for him. Like when he collected it, I hide the van and all that. And he was like...
Hide in the van?
Hiring the van. Because he was getting robbed on the van. So I said, listen, I know people. So I got it for like half price. Again, so just... Anyway. But when he got back, he was outside his house. And he said, I was getting a bit emotional because that was like, it took me like a long time to build up to that. And I had to put on credit cards and parents. And I said, well, look, you've done what other people don't do, the hard bit. It doesn't matter what it costs or whatever. You've done the thing that people don't want to do. But when he said the cost, I thought, what we filmed was 4 times longer, and it was probably for about 700 quid, and you spent like 30-40 grand because of all the people that were there.
Well, I think you kind of, when you think of a film set, and we talked actually, funny enough, about it yesterday, like how Netflix and Amazon are taking over everything now, because all these old-fashioned film studios, they have all these regulations and these, you need like you say, so many people, but actually you don't need that many.
Well, with the magazine, when I was trying to do photography, because I wanted original photography, I don't want any excuses, no students, no copied photography. So we did original, and we wanted to do it in Leicester Square, certain photographs. And the photographers wouldn't do it. You need this thing here, you need that thing there. And I went back and forth with about 3 people for about 4 months.
I think they just want to give themselves a sense of importance.
Yes.
That they're
right.
bigger or better.
There you go.
Because they want to charge you for stuff as well.
Like even now you have like a bar person, or instead of a stewardess, it's what are they called now? Like every little job.
Cabin crew, isn't it?
Or
ego.
the cleaner is called something like they have these complicated job roles.
Well, so I just said, oh, sod this. I went down there, did the photographs, and came back and I thought, why do I waste my time? And it is, people want you to think they're more needed than they are. It's a shitty thing to say until you do it and you go, oh, right. So there's a guy that won all these awards in America. I can't remember the name of the film. They did 2 films. The second one, they were asking him, how did you do the chase scene in LA? And he went, because we didn't tell anybody we were doing it.
Was this Ed Burns, was it?
No, it's a smaller thing. He said, well, we didn't tell anybody. If we had, we would have had to corner the thing off. We would have had police. He said, so we waited at night time. Went round, waited another 40 minutes, nobody's there, do it again. That's exactly what I did.
And I guess they expect you to have a permit, so they wouldn't really stop you and check.
Yeah, no. So
Depends,
do you know Terminator? I was listening to this the other day. They're making a Terminator. You know the first one? Have you seen Terminator?
Of course.
So when they're being chased and they crash, and then the Terminator disappears, and he goes and cuts out his eye. When they crash, they didn't have a permit for that. When the police turned up to that crash, and they faked having a permit, and then disappeared and had to go and produce it afterwards, but they didn't have one. So even then, they did it. And the bit where he walks up to the car and punches through the screen, they were told not to do that because they didn't have the permit. So they came back the next day and said, listen, we've got one shot. Walk up, smash that screen and walk off. And that's that film. So if you did go through the legalities and all the things, then you've got to have a big company behind it. It takes 4 years and all that. But it's, with the magazine thing, everything that I've proved that I've done, is it ain't complicated. It's because this is what I said to so-and-so. Everything's a lie. Everything I've done, even when I went to do the pilot, and I was still insecure. It's not like I know everything. And I sat with directors, and I said, "What are you going to do about this?" Well, I'm thinking this. What are you going to do about that? Well, we'll make it a documentary, so we don't have to worry about the Yeah, but and then he said to me, "You know, he said it takes a lot to make something look like a documentary, like it's lit." And I was like, oh, "Damn, maybe I didn't know." And then somebody said to me afterwards, a bit we'd seen. When we're outside and the sun was in face, he said, I thought you weren't using a lighting guy. I said, well, I said, but what about the sun thing? I said, no, I couldn't see. The sun was in my face. But then it just flipped straight back to him because I'd done the magazine, proved everybody wrong. Then this had happened and it was the same thing again. Even with this, the podcast, I had a TV, I don't want to say it, but they're on the TV. No, because they're a nice person. And they said, oh, you want to do these long-form conversations. Like, it's a thing to have a conversation. You've got to think who's not speaking, how to bring the person. And I was like, I haven't actually done it, but I don't know. Are you not overcomplicating things? And then it was nothing. In fact, we still have now, when I ask people to come on, the higher up they are in profession, the more worried they are about it uncensored and uncut. 2-hour conversation, what we're going to talk about. And it's like, wow. Like, it's just a conversation, and you're panicked because of.
Yeah, but I think it's because everybody bloody gets offended these days. You can't say a single word, but everyone says, "Oh, but it made me feel this and that." I think it's just everybody's so scared, especially if they have a career to protect or a name to protect. They're so paranoid, how they're going to come across.
Yeah, but then what does that say about
impact
you?
Other people.
Have you ever had like a backlash about things you've said? I mean, I've looked at some of your stuff. I didn't think there was anything there that made me go, "Oh,
I had my Instagram suspended a few times.
Really?
Because I think, especially one post, I was talking about a lot of Chinese people being the Selfridges. And I think I said Chinky China. And that was, my Instagram was shut down immediately because that was highly inappropriate and racial. Is it racial?
No, there's things like insensitivity. Like that's all it is. It's nothing to do with race. It's ridiculous. But the two get squashed together. But yeah, you say things. You go, yeah, okay, I'm from a silly background. I should actually but that's not. You don't go wallop racist band.
Yeah.
But then I've always said that, like, I mean, we talk about Russia, but yeah, I was going to say like that they fund the left to be more left because that's how you destroy something from the inside. You don't come out with an army. If you can't do that, you then fund the inside. You let them tear themselves apart from the inside. So you don't put stuff just supporting Trump. You go to people with get involved in it, but from specific groups, and you go on, tell them more how angry you are. Here's some money, go and tell them, and then you destroy it that way. So when people say you can't say this and you can't say that, and you got to say, all you're doing is pushing fascism quicker, because all the people in the middle, the 80% of the people in the middle, are people from another generation. Every generation, they're always from another generation, and they don't know what to say and what not. But they're good people. They don't want any ill hurt to hurt anyone.
Yeah.
And what you do is you squash them down by doing this to them. You can't say that. He got sued. The so-and-so's cousin. I knew a woman who had no bad bone in her body, and in a small shop, she was forced to put a disabled toilet in. She said, I can't afford this. And nobody comes in. There's wheels straight in. But they said, well, if you've got over 5 people or something, you have to have a... And she said, I can't afford it. And then I saw her personality change when people that were disabled came in. And I thought, that's...
We had a disabilities issue. We had, look at you waving your hand. No, don't go there. Don't go there.
No, we're being waved to move closer.
Well, me.
We were walking with, so we have an 18-month-old daughter, and we're walking ahead, and there's a lady in the wheelchair, and she comes to say hi to little Alice, and little Alice waves. And so little Alice walks towards the lady in the wheelchair, and what the lady in the wheelchair does, she presses forward, and she runs straight into my child. Ouch. And I'm standing there, and literally, I thought Alice's legs were broken. I grab her, and my instinct as a mother, this bitch has done it on purpose. Because she's in a fucking wheelchair, I can't say a thing. So I'm crying. Alice is in hysterics. She couldn't walk for a while. And so I said to my husband, I'm going to call the fucking police and report. You can't do that. She's in the wheelchair. I called the police and reported it as an incident. And they said, was it deliberate? And I'm like, well, I knew it was deliberate deep down, but I can't, because how can you accuse someone in a wheelchair of doing such a thing? And then weeks later, I was in the playground, and the other kids come up to me and said, that lady does this. They basically said that this is what this lady does. And funny enough, we were walking to get here, and the lady was wheeling past us. And I was like, I can't do anything. Do you know what I mean? Because she's in a wheelchair.
You'd have to have it like on film, when of her like looking and planning and whatever. You can't.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, what a life they should do. That's what it's come to. Like that's attacking children.
But I mean, people get there's fucked up people out there, isn't there? It doesn't matter.
Can we get off minority stuff?
I know
minority stuff.
I'm just worried about me. I'm constantly saying, don't say that. Don't say let her say what do you describe yourself as? Like profession? You used to be a dancer.
I trained as a dancer. Okay. I do a bit of modeling, presenting work. At the moment, I'm a mom. And just trying to find my way in life.
Do you know what I liked about you? I do weird like tests. It's not a test, but this is how I judge people, because you can never take people at their word or what they present, because everyone's on a TV show, basically. Everyone's on show. And I looked back at some of your early videos.
Oh, you looked for myself? Woo.
Yeah, of course I did. Oh. You just randomly walked past me and pulled you up. I mean, what a sad disposition about the show. Oh, you actually looked at... Yeah, we looked. But listen, I looked way back at your early stuff. And then I looked at your recent stuff.
Yeah.
And your personality didn't change because of motherhood.
Really? Oh, my God, thank you.
That's a massive thing to say, because it should have. It should have. But it didn't. And I thought, wow, that's a proper personality. That's your person. That tells you everything about the person. No, well, I'm a kid and I'm tired. It was just like, no, you. And I thought, I don't know what the compliment is, but I was like, oh, that's great. That is. That like you from way back to after. And a new, it's not like you've had a kid 10 years ago.
Yeah.
There was no waver in your personality at all.
Thank you. It's a
Which
huge
is-
compliment. Thank you.
No, I mean, I don't. Yeah, it's a bigger compliment now I'm saying it, but it's strange because people use children as an excuse a lot of times, which really annoys me. I can't do this because the kids are. I'm going to.
Well,
Are kids minorities?
to all our parents out there, it's been fun having you listening to us as they switch off. No, are parents minorities?
No, kids. I thought,
Are
is that
kids
am I having to go at a sect of people?
You are, but I don't think they would be classed as. I mean, minority is a relative term. So if
Yeah.
you go to a bingo hall, yes, a child is going to be a minority, but
Yeah. So your Instagram, it did make me laugh out loud. I thought, yeah, I could get on with you because I thought, yeah, you're like me walking around saying stuff, not sort of
it's
feeling like you're in a
very
cartoon and everyone's like nutters, but because you're on your own as a sensible person, you're the freak, basically. That's how it feels. So I was watching some of you saying this about that and that. Oh, and you're a dating coach.
Are you?
She doesn't know it. She doesn't know it. I'll tell you why. Because if you want to pick up a rich old man, where would you go?
To a car show.
There you go.
Oh, I did see that one. Yeah, with a car with that had a bed, had a house coming, tent coming out of the roof.
My best mate who died, he liked cars. Like he had a car from like new and Mercedes, like 20-year-old one, and he was like. To a normal person, you go, why have you got the jiffy cloth over the gear stick with the buttons cut out? Because he doesn't want to ruin the wood. Like 20 years after you got the car, he's still on there. And he cleans this and he cleans that. Anyway, and he thought, let me take this down to a car show. I think it was in Enfield. And he went down there. And I see him the next night. We was working security together. And he went, oh, what happened to the car show? He went, you know what? He said, they laughed at me.
Oh,
and I was like,
Oh, no.
why? He said, he cleans it every week, regardless. And it's in a garage and he cleans it every week. So I was thinking, what? So he said, it was on the grass and all that, and I pulled it on. Nice big Mercedes SECs 500 or whatever. He said, you know what they did? He said, they walked up and they put their hand under the arch and wiped their hand under the arch because there was dirt underneath the arch of the wheel. And they said, oh, he's not for real.
yeah.
Think of that. Like they outdone him. Was going, in the arch, you want me to tip the car upside down and like, That's almost a sickness. That's not a hobby.
Yeah,
That's
it's
like
a little
I've
bit,
been divorced and I'm not allowed in the house, so I've spent my life underneath the hood of the car.
It's a little bit over the top, I would say.
I think it says a lot about his sexuality, and he's sort of because I dated a guy who was similar to your friend, obsessed with cleaning his car, and I remember that
well, once a
he
week.
found sex quite dirty, so he had to change the sheets and have a shower. And oh my god!
No, that's not him. He's yeah.
How
do you know? Yeah, good point.
Because I worked with him on the doors for about 10 years. I know everything about him.
Okay.
It's amazing the conversations you have to have in the rain at 5 a.m. But
so he's super filthy then.
no, but he just did whatever he wanted. He was a gentleman. Like he was an old school gentleman. Like he was a weird bloke. Like he was the only person that actually. You think if somebody likes you, your friends, they sort of help you along the way, but nobody says, hey, don't do that, do this, don't do that, because I know why you're doing it, but I used to do it, don't. Do you know what I mean? An actual proactively trying to help you. But yeah, he did that, but he died quite early. But he did. He always said, he said, blokes are going to cheat. That's what he used to say to me. I mean, we're working in nightclubs with all of us, so it's that type of people. And he said, but you don't ever disrespect the person you're with to let them know that you don't cancel them for somebody else, or that's, which is like, if you're gonna do it, like that's the better way of looking. It's not good, but yeah.
What's that song? And they got me on the counter, wasn't me. Then they're banging on the
Shaggy.
sofa.
Yeah, taking it down a step. Then
Don't sing anymore because we'll owe him money.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Probably
right,
needs
10 seconds. No, I think you can.
Oh, is it?
But
No.
my voice is, I'm sure it's all different.
Last week we were talking about, do you remember the copper? How the coppers get away from being filmed now.
Oh, because they were singing over their chest cam.
So there's videos now. What they do is the police, when they're being filmed and they don't want it to be filmed, they can't stop you. So the coppers were getting out the cameras and playing.
So then when you post
Britney Spears, it immediately cuts off.
Oh, baby.
But the guy's going to him, why are you playing music? And he said, I'm just playing music. And
Because
he
you're
said,
really
"It's not funny."
sinister
But
kind
the
of.
embarrassment of going, I was like music, go, oh, you're not mortified. I'd sooner be done online than be sit there. He's going, why are you taking your phone? He's playing Britney Spears, puts it in his pocket as he's talking to him. So that's police done. We've got the police out of the way. We've done parents.
So how would you classify like your stuff? Because it seems very slice of life kind of videos, your Instagram?
I've been told that there is no real direction. There's no real theme of what I do. It's very random. So I call myself 90% nuts. I think it's 10% dogs, and the rest has allergies and allergens and something like that. So
When I was putting the magazine together, I needed somebody to do the food section, like basic food for people that don't cook. We called it dude food. It's cooking for people who can't cook. It's a personal development magazine. And so I met somebody, and he brought his wife with him to the meeting, which is fair enough. And she said, I've got 21 allergies. So she was dating him, but she lifted it off. And I said, I don't even know what you're saying you're allergic to there. I understand the dairy and the nuts and the 21. And I was thinking, that's almost a disability.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
For the relationship I'm talking about.
I think she just wanted a disabled badge on her car, right? So she could park in the bays. Oh shit, is it racist? Is it discriminatory?
I don't know if that's right.
That's probably the most offensive thing you've said. But I don't think you came out. I think you'll be looked on a port like it's the losing party on that one. But she, no, listen, I'm not going to get into dyslexia. I want a bloody disabled badge.
I don't think you get disabled badge for dyslexia.
No, but it's a proper thing. It's not a little thing, man. Like every day.
I know it's a thing. Like, because
I think if you're persistent and you keep going to the doctor and make shit up, I think, like, you know, if you persevere, you'll get there in the end.
What, dyslexia?
Or unless the old age will get you first.
But that's not possible because he's in his 20s.
No, I remember somebody saying to me, if you just try this and try that, you go, I was doing that for 15 years. Like, I've tried everything. It's not what the synapses of your brain don't fire. It's like having a nerves missing out your arm and saying, well, just move it anyway. It's not a thought. But yeah, like every time I was with somebody the other day, and they're talking to me, I'm thinking, I'm trying to read here while they're talking, and it's like I can't do the two at the same time. I've said this before. When I used to go on dates, I'd have to go to the restaurant before to get the menu, so I could see what was. That's how bad it is, because I can't talk to you and try and read the thing at the same time.
They got pictures in KFC.
Yeah, very good, very good. No, I don't go to the restaurant. A friend of mine said to me, he's taking his niece out, and he said he only takes her to a restaurant where you look down at the menu, not up. And I thought, well, that's good.
Fair enough.
He said,
but what about the specials board?
All right, but he said
he didn't think that.
He said you can't wait till they're 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then start teaching them how to be. They won't do it. They're friends. There's 1,000 of friends for every one of you. He said you have to make them normalize things to early age, so that when they are taken somewhere, it feels I don't like being here. But you have to do it early on. You can't tell them later on. And I thought, no, that works. He said, so I take them to all the best restaurants and all that, and speak to polite people and this and that. So if she does date somebody and he acts differently to that, he's not telling her not to. She just doesn't like it. And I thought, that's genius. That is another doorman. Genius. My friend that died, he was a doorman in Stringfellows through the week, and he used to work with me on the weekends. And he was constantly trying to get me to go in there. And I was like, I'll just end up asking them about their mum and like what they want to do with their lives. It's just going to be like mortifyingly embarrassing. I can't, like, it's too late now. I've got to go in there sort of drugged up, drunk, and then normalize it that way. Now that I'm sort of mildly respectable, I can't just walk in and go, all right.
Mildly.
Well,
I don't even know if strip clubs exist anymore in the age of COVID.
Didn't Corona kill them all off? I mean, not kill as in kill. I mean, just close them down.
No, so Stringfellows is still open, isn't it? They opened another one called Engels, which is basically on the same road, which I never understood. Oh, the stories I could tell you about what he used to tell me.
Let's not.
If you want to know about... Oh, anyway. So how long's your channel been going?
I think about 18 months. No, hold on. My daughter's 18 months. Probably 2 years, 2.5 years.
I think if that's your job, like a social media, like the Instagrammer, I think it's a mark of like a warrior stripe to have been banned and come back.
Yeah,
I think it's a rite of passage for most people.
It says you're doing the right thing. If you just, I've never got any trouble for anything and created no controversy, well, what's the point?
I actually, when I had Alice and I had a photo shoot, I think she was 8 months, and I managed to lose the weight because I was a whale. I was a Moby fucking dick when I was pregnant, and then somehow, did I swear? I'm not allowed to swear. Okay.
That
she hasn't listened to the show, has she?
Sound like
disrespectful.
hit the iceberg.
And then I lost the weight, and I got the photographer in. Let me just take a picture. So there was a beautiful photo, like a black and white photo of me holding Alice, and it was like a silhouette of my breast. And, you know, you had to really zoom in to see the nipple. It was such an artistic photo. I mean, it got taken down. Really? Your account will be deleted. You offended someone. Someone's about to kill themselves. It's too much. And then I just put in hashtag, you know, arse is booty. And then you just have these pornographic images. But for some reason, my shade of a black and white nipple of post-pregnancy body. Like, look at me, I still got it. I haven't,
But there's a child in the picture.
Yeah, maybe there was a child thing.
It might have been like, maybe, I don't know. I find the whole weird, like their weird nipple thing, because a man can have his nipples, and it's also like you see pictures of people where they've got silly like emojis over the nipples. It's like, well, now I can't tell.
Oh, no. I've actually reposted it with an emoji on my nipple, and it still offended someone.
But that's what it is. It's because they don't. I mean, they could quite easily, but they don't. Haven't bothered with any kind of AI or ML to automatically block this stuff. It's if they just rely on people reporting it because that's cheaper for them. And it's just some
So it's not somebody complaining; it's automatic.
No, it is people. It is people complaining. So you'll see like celebs will often have like nipples on show, but
why do you need comments on things? I've always said our YouTube channel, just leave the comments off. Who cares?
Well,
don't waste.
You
your
have
life.
the option. You have the option to turn comments off.
Yeah, so why put them on there?
I think you get more hits if you have comments. Is that right? I don't know.
I think because I had my comments disabled, so only people who I followed commented. And I think when I did like a scan of my Instagram, like the interactivity or something, it said people need to interact. So I switched it off, and then it kind of boosted it. I'm just trying to suck on that accidentally. Old habits die hard. And
for our listeners, microphone.
Yeah, mention the microphone for God's sake. So. But I think you're right. Actually, I think like when conversation,
some kind of a robot comes to scan your Instagram to see if it's good or bad or whatever. And now that I have the comments running, people can comment. I thought, fuck it, just everyone can write.
It was quite interesting. I feel we can get away with saying it again. We was talking last week about these weird stories, and they were after this criminal, and they didn't know who it was, and they got him from an Instagram photograph. Right? They thought he knew who, but they didn't know because he was buying cheese. And he bought an expensive
Yes, and it was a photo of his thumb or something, wasn't it?
And they scanned the photograph and got his thumb. Woo. They're always ahead, aren't they? It's old Columbo.
Do you know they say that a man's thumb is twice the length of the penis?
Oh, don't do that, because now we've all got to ignore our thumbs for the rest of
every man in the room is like, quick, hide the thumb.
My hand, like the Evil Dead, has just gone under the table like that. Right, yeah. So where do you take it? Have you got any plans of where you take that, or is it just you carry on doing it?
Well, actually, I've got my husband, bless him. He's pushing me. I think he's just got tired of me performing in the household.
What do you do for a living? You don't mind me asking?
No, he's shy. He's gone shy. It's just basically he wants me to stop performing dramatic, depressive, crazy roles in home and get my ass out. So I've actually put a show reel together recently. And
what do you mean? What stuff you're doing now he doesn't want you to do?
No, he wants me to go and do more artistic stuff and more presenting work, acting work, to kind of take that energy from out of the household into and share it with the rest of the world. So I'm sort of trying to do different projects. And,
so have you done acting?
I've done acting before. I come from an acting family. But I try to go to academia to prove my family that I can be smart. I mean, that didn't work out very well. So I did like various degrees in psychology and psychodynamic counseling. I can be clever, but it kind of just fell flat.
Psychodynamic, what's that?
Counseling. Sorry. So I've just finished a 2-year psychodynamic counseling, which is like a psychotherapy course. So I got super depressed doing it myself. And I'm thinking now I'm in therapy, trying to get over that fucking course. So I'm trying to get into modeling, presenting, and more just fun projects. I'm not very good at learning lines. I used to do a lot of lines before. I think maybe that's the reason. But I think just improv stuff and fun stuff, just to get into anything fun.
You have no fucks to give. Oh, I just love it.
When we filmed our thing, that's the first thing I said when I was putting it together. I thought, I'm not learning any lines, so it better be as real as possible. Everyone's using their own names. Yeah. The location, it is really it shouldn't really be called acting, to be honest. I feel like a bit of a fraud. I could forget it. I haven't even got the will. I don't even want to do it. And which is a funny thing to say, considering you're acting. I don't actually want to be. I said when we were filming stuff, I said I didn't give a thought about the acting until about 3 seconds before we started. I thought, right, what am I going to say? Yeah. But I think that works. If it fit the tone of what we were doing. Yeah. If you put me on a plane, gave me a skull and some ruffles, I'd be knackered, mate. Unless I had a broom in my hand. So excuse me, I'm just sweeping up.
You need the Marlon Brando thing of having someone, with a coat just standing out of shot.
I'll tell you what. Talking about a damaged person. Like, damaged people are always the most interesting. And I see an interview of him. They're talking about his dad. Him and his dad did not get on. They think that's why he was always trying to be sort of like a tough guy. And there's an interview, you can watch it, and they're talking, and they're sat next to each other. And he said, "Oh, your dad, blah, blah, blah. Tough guy, whatever." and sat there next to him. He said, yeah, but I can still knock him out with one punch. Like that, to say that to your dad, that's deep. That's no smiles, that's an odd thing to say about your
Wow.
He said it to his father.
Yeah,
or his father
he was sat there next to him. He went, I can still knock him out with one punch. And it wasn't like they were there to sort of counselling. They were just having an interview. I thought, blimey. But he was funny the way he went off the rack. He started, in the end, he was charging $50,000 just to read a script. Like, he could just do what he wanted.
That's how you end up owning your own island.
8 wives and all that, yeah. But 50 grand, just to look at it. Oh, 50 grand. But then we watched the documentary of the making for, what was the war one, the last one, where he just didn't give a damn.
The war one?
Oh, the Vietnam. When he
Apocalypse Now.
Yeah. When he was supposed to be like a hard trained soldier and living in the jungle, and he was just like bollocks. He put on about 50. They paid like 120 grand for 2 years, like a personal trainer, and he just spent the money. And then he just turned up into the set. So they had to change the ending of the film to have him in the shadows, wearing a black cape sort of thing, instead of just like this hard, tough. But just because he was so overweight, he just didn't give a shit. So I'm just coming. This is what I'm doing. So do what you want me to go, or I'll go. You go, you motherfucker.
Well, he's not the stupid one in that, is he? He's the one he's got the right idea.
But so you watch it, it's just all shadows and in the dark and a big cape over him. And he's supposed to be like this raw marine that's been living in the forest. But yeah, I like that, just sort of, I don't give a fuck.
That's the way to get to it.
Or when he sent up what do you say? When they offered him the Oscar and he went, no, I'm not coming. But he sent the woman in space, the Red Indian. No, I don't know.
She was a Native American, but she wasn't.
But she was an actress.
Yeah,
just to say, like, sod you lot. What about the Native Americans?
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to come and collect the Oscar.
Basically, it was just a, what do you call it? I can't remember now. Never mind.
But yeah, I like
a
that.
troll.
You need
he was like a pre.
You need them nowadays, don't you? If anything, you need them now. Just people that couldn't give a F.
You just get shut down, don't you? I think. Well, that's what social media does, though. That allows people to say the things that they're not, sanitized, having to.
Well, you think that, but I think it's still very much policed and scrutinized.
Yeah, I suppose there is the.
I think more. I think of Instagram as more of a happier place. I think that Twitter is an angry place because there's no pictures, more words. I'm not part of Twitter.
So where is it? So it's Tats Fun World, isn't it?
Yes,
So it's Tats _Fun _World.
Yes,
so
correct.
Have you got anything like a 5-year plan that you want to do? I know you want to do various things, but is there anything like, have you got a company that you wanted to start? Is there something specific that you'd want to do?
I'd love to do fuck all and get paid lots of money.
So I don't think
you would.
I'd like to just have fun, be myself, and earn a fortune. That's
but you like
idea.
acting, I think. No?
Yes, I love
presenting.
I think I'm quite an extrovert. A lot of the times, I just want to do something exciting and get lots of money as well, of course.
Yeah,
bloody money. Always done that, isn't it? Whether you have none or too much, it always causes problems. It's the middle bit you want to get to.
Yeah, but I think it's that famous line from, I can't remember who it was, isn't it? But it's always easier to have a cry in the back of a limo than
a bicycle.
So
I'd sooner be depressed in the back of a Rolls Royce than in a council.
No, but I think people have this idea, if they get rich, when I lose weight, when I buy this, I'll be happier. You still go for the 4 seasons of life, whatever stage you are financially. But I think if you have this goal, if only I had $1 million, I will be this, and they get there like, shit, this is not really worked out.
But as human beings, are climatized to anything. If you win $1 billion, within a few years, there's Coke cans in the car and the Chris, and you're not hoovering. Do you know what I mean? Anything becomes normalized. It's just, if it's far enough away, you never actually find out that it's not the thing, because you're never going to get to that sort of stage, more or less. I knew people that were rich and said they're fucking miserable. I knew one guy who worked in the city, finance guy and all that, and he used to laugh about the fact of like me saying he was rich compared to people he knew. And I was talking to him, he said, I do this, I do that. He said, but yeah, he said, listen, he was telling me the bad parts of it. And he said, I know my missus, if I lose my job, she'll probably stick around for a month, 2 months, 3 months to see if I bounce back. If I don't, she'll be sleeping with one of my mates. She said, it's all built into we all know that. That's why nobody gives a shit about anyone else. She knows she's half his age and he's not banging her. So where is he for those 3 weeks? But she knows that, well, at least she's got money, but he knows that she said, it's hollow. We go out and spend money and all that. He said, but I know she wouldn't last. She wouldn't stick around, which is a funny thing to say. Talking about relationships and things going bad. When I was doing removals for years, I went to this house and
he's been around the block, hasn't he? In his 20s.
I usually change jobs about 4 times a year.
Really?
Yeah, but we went to this house and there was one removal firm. I can't remember who was moving in and the other person out, but we were coming there with stuff, so we were moving the guy in, I think. But they hadn't met the couple that had broken up. for like 2 years. And we turned up and she was in like, it wasn't warm, but she had like these little hot pants on. And the removal guy from the other firm came up and said, listen, I said, she's like really flirting with everyone, like over the top. And now he's turned, he said they haven't seen each other. And they're arguing over everything that comes out the door, which you do not need on a 12-hour day. Like, no. And I was just standing there, and there was some little words, and she was turning away from him like a dirty face, and then going smiling. And I was just looking, and I thought they had a relationship at some point. Like it didn't jump from nothing to hate, but so they were in bed. I love you. The first date, smiling, and it went to that. Like fuck.
Well, stuff goes shit, isn't it? It's like
I know. A friend used to say to me, he used to say, people don't. You look at love like it's a thing you have. That's the problem. He said, if you think about it, it's something you've got to earn every day. It's a verb. It's a doing thing. He said that makes you realise you don't own this fucking thing. It's got to be topped up all the time. And that stuck with me. I thought, yeah, that makes more sense. And well, that's my missus anyway. Nice one.
But I think inherently in the beginning, you have this honeymoon phase where you present this false sense of self to each other. And you have this infatuation and a fantasy and lust and everything. And, I believe, women, this is actually my husband's words, women are inherently all liars because we all alter our looks, we inject shit, we put makeup, we make ourselves look like nothing what we really truly are. And then 6 months into the relationship, we just can't be bothered shaving our legs anymore. But in the beginning, you're shaving, you're this,
but that's because people go on dates too easy. Let's go on a date to see if I like you. Well, you don't know anything. Why would you waste your time? If you've got loads of time to kill, I don't mind.
So this is why I think, in a way, actually, sort of online dating is quite good because you've done some of
the opposite.
No, I think it's good. You're chatting to the person, then deciding, oh, okay, would I like to then go on the date?
Yeah, but still, all the photos are at least 10 years younger. The guys have less hair than they have in
pictures. It's the worst thing to do. It's not a
They
tin
lie
of
about their
beans.
height. They lie about how much money they have. And I used to scrutinize these profiles.
If anybody asked, though, you said, why would you ask how much lie about your money?
No, because a men's profile, but you should register as a woman just to have a look. I'm on a boat, I'm on a yacht, I look my Rolex, I'm with a tiger. There's always one with the animal. I don't know why men think it's attractive. Oh, primate, oh, lion, rah. And then you zoom into the picture. Hold on, it's a Holiday Inn. Hold on a second. This is not you're just thinking, why do you
But this is what I mean.
Why
do you need the complications in life? Why not just meet somebody and say, hi, I find you attractive, pay somebody a compliment, and like, if it works, it works. It's this, well, I've got to be in the relationship. I've got to be in the relationship. What age am I? You've got to be in the relationship. Well, again, age. See, that's another thing. You've talked about biology. You haven't go through seasons. No. Forget what bloody age you are.
No,
Live
but
your
as
life.
a woman, you only have enough eggs in your chicory or chicken
30
flock.
years ago now, unless you're like 60.
No. So at 33, this a few years ago, I got diagnosed with low ovarian reserve. So at 33, they said, listen, your chickens are clogged up. Like literally, you need to have your mother.
Yeah, that's a thing then, I understand
So
that.
I think every woman has a different...
How do they, without being too gross, how do they
They
diagnose
take this
that?
big stick, they just take a blood test. And
Oh, I
they
mean,
stick
so-
a thing in and have a look. I don't know what they're looking for.
They take cells
Okay, but
and measure
I
the
suppose
cells.
what I mean is, how do you get to the point where is it because you were trying to have a child and you have difficulties?
It was a thing to do. So I don't know what I'm doing.
Don't say it again.
But it was just that, like, we read it in Grazia. We're like, oh, it's the thing. Everyone freezes their eggs, So we're like, let's just do the it thing. And then I turned up to the Lister Hospital with my friend. She's 2 years older than me. And her chickens were fine. And the doctor's like, And I was like, shit, where's the Thames?
Weird, yeah.
So did you always knew you were going to have a kid?
I didn't want to have children. It was like I never wanted to be burdened down with family, mortgage, married children. Like, who does that? This is my freedom, my self-expression. It's a very starless role to be a mother. Like, who wants to be a mother? And then one day, the biological clock hit me like a massive exploding, shooting star. And that's it. And I was like, I have to have a baby now or the world will end. It literally happened overnight.
And do you want more?
Yes, I'd like more.
Really?
Yes.
So you have one little girl, is that right?
One. No, don't run, honey. Tonight's the night.
Have you...
I enjoyed the video.
So having been somebody that was definitely... I can see what you say about some people just didn't want it. And you won't know that there's a change coming. So you might not just think... You just don't know at that time. So has it gone away? Like, was it a thing that's permanent? Like the parenting thing? I know it's hard to... Because you got the kid now. But is it... Do you think you were just... the mentality was wrong when you didn't want a child?
I think it's because as a woman, you're trying to get an education, a career. You need a Chanel bag. You need this, and the child doesn't quite fit into that. I think it's more London mentality. Or big city mentality. And having a baby, you have to sacrifice a lot for your body because we're all Instagram like selfies and stuff. So it's a big thing. So you kind of think I've worked so hard in my 20s to build a life, and I'm comfortable with it now. And I don't really want to fuck everything up, and you kind of think, should I not? I'm so glad I did it because I think it's amazing. I mean, it's shit most of the time, but
what do you think about adopting? Would you never adopt? It's just not on your radar.
I don't think I'm that gracious, loving, and caring for the world. Yeah, I think I'm quite selfish inherently.
Even with being a mother, but you're looking at someone else's child.
Listen, I don't give a shit about any other children but my own. Like if everyone's like, "Oh, look at my baby," and I'm like, Jesus Christ, looks like just like even my baby looked like any other baby. I don't think. For me, it wasn't like, oh, babies are amazing. I avoid mothers. When I see mom with a pram, I run.
If you were going to get a dog, you like dogs. So would you not, but I bet none of them are rescue dogs.
All three of them are. One was.
That's the same sort of thing. So that goes against what you're saying.
But the dogs will love you, like no matter. It's unconditional love.
Would.
No, they fucking don't. They need you for food. They need you for shelter. They want toys. Inherently, they're cute. Children are cute because so that you don't murder them. If you had something screaming, wanting, like taking, clawing everything out of you, and looked like a grown person, you'd kill them.
You're taking on more of a role than you would for a dog, in a child. It's a bigger burden, is what you're saying.
It's a bigger burden having a baby,
so you have to want it more in a way. You've never mentioned kids. Have you ever thought about kids or anything?
What do you mean? For the benefit of the record, I have never had thoughts about children.
No, have you? Oh, the audience are kicking off. Yeah. Have you? Because how long have you been dating the girl now?
Nearly 2 years.
Ooh, it's time. She's
have you? Have you thought about kids or anything? Have you ever thought about?
I have never thought about having children. Well, I have thought about it, as in I don't want to have children.
Oh, right.
What about your girlfriend? What does she think?
She's just of the same view of, hi, Gabby, if you're listening. Yeah. She's of the view that, if it happens kind of thing. Which I guess is probably my view. I wouldn't be like, fuck, no.
Because that's a big deal. If one person doesn't want kids, that's it.
I have known people where they've gone into the relationship and one has thought the other would change their, either way. And it's just like...
But I don't understand what is this thing I wanted or don't. I really wanted Alice. I was so excited being pregnant. But did I regret it a few times? Sure, I did.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm thinking my mind changes, daily. Like sometimes I'm, Jesus Christ, what have I done to my life? Yeah. And then like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm thinking that. So I think it's not like, right, I've decided. I think it's a process. It's a difficult process.
Yeah, I know friends, they're saying things on Instagram, it's women shouldn't be ashamed to say like, oh, I don't want children or I do want children, or some days I have really shitty things where I want to, bloody throttle my kid because they're being an absolute shit. You have these thoughts, but you don't act on them,
Well, the education's a big thing. They did in Africa recently. They've realised the more education women have, the less the birth rate goes down because they've got more of there's something else to life than just having children. I think Western culture's catching up now. You don't have to have that thing that's what you do. That's not needed. And I think people are realising. So I think there's going to be more and more people aren't getting married, more and more people that aren't having kids. And then that would be the norm, I think. I still think you have to adopt because you've got this.
Why don't you bloody adopt then?
We need a partner.
Adoption thing, Vialucci Adoption Agency. Is that what you use that in your next project?
Don't give him ideas.
Hang on, I don't think I've got a pen. So just, it's not a bad idea.
It's a bad idea.
I don't want to be a fascist, but I would say if I was involved...
We didn't say that. We did not say that.
No, but I'd say, no, it's not the China thing. You're not having a kid. You've got to adopt first, then you can have a kid. And if you look after that one, because kids need adopting, you can't step over them. You can, but then you go, right, but then go and look at them in the face. Don't hide away.
I mean, I suppose, I think adoption that's quite hard to say that, but I think you could encourage more people to foster children, certainly.
There needs to be some sort of push because other than they're just hidden and it's forgotten.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, again, you got to think that kid didn't want any of that.
Yeah, but what about stopping the process where some people shouldn't have kids and they keep having them?
Yeah, I mean, it gets dodgy when you start talking about licensing, but it's sort of, I think that's a good idea. If you need one for a dog, child, well, who are you? I mean, if you fix that and then went ahead a load of years and then look back and you go, there's people in like one room had unemployed and having kid after kid after kid. You'd go, how does the society run? Then you go, well, what do you want to do about it? And you go, who's going to be the one to?
Because then you get into the, that's essentially almost, that's It's a bit like having a.
So you can't even come
I'm
out of your mouth.
I'm trying to think of the way to phrase it, but it's almost like that's almost the argument of then forcing you force people to have abortions or what?
Yeah, it means you sterilise people. Well, I mean, mind you, they do it anyway. So, no, you can't do it. I just a certain lines
exactly.
you can't
That's
cross.
what I'm saying. So you can't.
But
it's
then
all very well from
education. You have to do the soft power. You've got to
Yeah.
You've got to educate. You go, okay, these generations are gone. Let's start these ones.
But you solve most problems when you give people make sure they can have good jobs and earn a decent wage and have a decent education, and then they forget about God and they forget about I've got to do this, I've got to do that. These are the things I need. I've got to have children to carry on and all this kind of stuff because they're just happy with their lives.
Well, even having kids, it'll be like in what do you call it, in vitro fertilization, not even needing anybody else, sort of thing, which is another. I don't even know what to say about that.
No, I think there's still the biological imperative to. You don't need a man, fair enough. No, you don't. But I think you're still going to have people falling in love. You're not going to get rid of that because that is a chemical reaction in the brain.
Yeah, you can't,
that's the reason
millions
why.
of years of DNA.
I mean, working in nightclubs, you must have seen a lot of these people falling in love on the night.
I saw people having sex on the dance floor. On the dance floor.
Fertilization, did you say that?
Yeah.
Fertilizing.
I'm assuming they were in love.
The miracle of life before
I saw, there was one woman, but there's guys were running a train. Can I say this?
I don't know, because you always say, can I say this before you've said it?
Because
this is the problem
I have
when
to
we don't
open doors and go, right, I'm now civilized, and I don't know if that's what's going to offend you and what's not. But there was one girl, and these guys were running a train on her in a car park. Jesus Christ. And like one after the other was going into the car. And I thought, she's not going to look good when she came back. And the last guy was the seventh one. We said, geez, don't go in there. Don't do that. And he said, no, I'm just going to do whatever. And then he came back and he stepped back. And she came back. And I was looking at her eyes to think, like, is she all right? And she was sort of smiling away and looking, like thinking, you're going to have to lie about that to anyone that you ever fall in love with.
People are, to the person you fall in love.
That's something, a lie. You can never mention that.
You'll always win, never have I ever.
I don't know why I said that story. What was we talking about?
I don't know, really.
Some people might find it as a turn on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some
I agree
guys
with
might
that.
be like, you know what, babe, just go out at least 10 tonight. At least 10. I'll be at home. I want to hear all the
Yeah, but that's
details.
not love. That's not a relationship. You just break it off. That's just somebody you're banging. Eventually, you're going to want a hug. That eventually, that's got to kick in. Like somebody cares about you.
The seventh guy
No, it's only
gave a hug, and she was like, "Well,
I'm assuming he was
number 8. Don't need you anymore."
He was writing her poetry in the car. But no, that's no. There's certain levels.
So hold on, she was in the back seat of the car.
I couldn't see. It was like there's 1,000 cars. It was a big club. It was a super club. But because I was watching, because I thought I'd just make sure she's all right. Like I was trying to look at the temperature.
Hold on, I thought she was in the car.
Oh, in the car outside it. I'm on the door.
Okay.
But yeah, just make sure. But she came out. She was sort of like giggling and laughing. I thought,
well, if everyone had a good time, what else?
if you're 40, yeah, but when you're in your early 20s, that's not going to be you're not going to go, oh, well, I'm glad I did that. That's not like a rational decision. That's like damage. Some things you're trying to find love, but you've mixed the two emotions up.
Maybe she's just been read a lot of childhood stories like The Thing and the Seven Dwarfs, the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Maybe that's what it was.
Thank God
She
you're
was
here. You
inspired.
make me look better. You really do. Like it takes you to the
When I was a little
against-
girl, I've always wanted to relive this story tale.
Well, they were all dodgy, weren't they? Like they're all
Well,
them
the dwarf-
stories.
dwarf.
No, what was the one with Alice in Wonderland? He was written by, wasn't he like a...
Oh, Lewis Carroll. I think there have been accusations that he had a interest in
Little girl,
in young girls. Yeah.
Let's get off this topic. This goes nowhere. Right. And is there anything else you want to make? What hobbies do you do? You're dancing?
I dance, yes.
Yeah. What type of dance? Anything specific?
I do jazz. Yeah. So I
Oh.
go to Pineapple Dance Studios
And occasionally mark up the choreography and run out of frame.
yes. Oh, you watched that.
Did see that one there.
When did you start dancing? From a kid?
To be honest, yes, as a kid, it was a great thing growing up, being a teenager and finding a sort of an outlet to.
So you started off in Russia, then moved to why move to Sweden?
My mother got married to a Swedish man. It was very popular this time, communist times.
To Sweden?
To Sweden. Well, this is all she had in the profile. She went to a dating agent. I don't know why I'm speaking.
She went to a
accent.
dating agency.
She did. She was a single
That's
mother,
great.
and she was like, woohoo.
What was that? Oh,
Shall I stand up? I don't...
can the listeners hear that?
By the way, we have played that on here before. Funny enough, yeah. It's a good. I said to him before.
Yeah,
I
it's a
said,
good one.
if there was a national anthem I had to stand up to or for, that would be the one.
Give it a couple of years.
There's
mate.
something about it that's like, yeah, that's a man's national anthem.
And a woman.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I was being safe then. I think, no, I've literally just offended.
So your mother married, so you're half Swedish then?
Well, no, I was born to a Russian
Oh, but
biological.
he lived in Sweden.
No, they're both Russian in Moscow, and then mom escaped the communism and took me with her, and then I escaped my mom by coming. Sorry, I stink like an onion bhaji today. I do. If you can smell me, it's me.
No, what do you mean she escaped your mum?
I just left Sweden. I didn't like Sweden.
How old were you?
I was 20, and so I met this guy on holiday called John, and who lived in Essex, and that was me moving in with him and his dad. So
John from Essex. I mean, I'm not having a go, but what was it about him you liked?
he was tall, and I don't know. I just felt like safe with him, and I just felt like I can start a new life in London. I mean, we broke up a couple of years later. All gone tits up.
And you've been there since? Been here since?
And I've been in London for.
So do you go back to Russia often?
Well, not so much with the corona, but I try to go a lot.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
To Moscow?
Yes, yeah, with that to pet my dancing bear and
What-
to play
what-
balalaika.
What do you notice the difference there? I've only got sort of cliches of Russia. Is it?
Oh, please throw them at me. I love it. I think I don't.
No,
get
but I mean, are
offended.
they all shouting at each other even though they're friendly? It sounds like they're having a fight.
Yeah, they sound like they're fighting all the
Drink
time.
vodka?
Yeah. You shouldn't. Personally, I mean, this is just I don't want to offend anyone. Jesus fucking Christ. But in Russia, if you walk down the street like a normal street, not like what you see on TV, you don't look at men in the eyes, because if you look them in the eyes, they think you want to fuck them.
Right. Yeah.
So, you just look down. If they talk to you, just run for your life. Like the male chauvinism, like my dad, bless him, he's an old like communist. Russia,
come on.
Mother Russia. Yeah. My stepmom is not allowed to learn how to drive because of what a woman driving a craziness.
Yeah,
I see a bear driving before a woman can drive. There's a lot of that. There's still a lot. Yeah.
Just that generation that can't change.
I think it's
ingrained.
still very much cemented in.
And has that kind of passed on to the younger generation as well? So they're keeping alive that.
I think so. I think it's the young generation's trying to be like the West. They're trying to be hip, and they're trying to. But I think still that there's a lot of the old fashioned.
Yeah. What happened to the Pussy Riot girls? Are they still in jail?
Some of them are, I believe. I think most of them have been. I think a few of them have been released now, because some were arrested, and there's also been arguments about who's. Some of them have been chucked out the group.
I mean, you've got to give them their dues. If you're sort of attacking the government and the church in Russia, that's hardcore, mate. That ain't messing around.
But you're not a suffragette. I mean, I think the way they've done it is just, if you really want your message across, I think they could have found other ways. Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but they might have done that for years and it did nothing. You don't know. What were they actually protesting against? Was it
I'm not actually sure, to be honest.
music, freedom?
You just remember their tits, don't you?
I don't know. What are they?
I don't think
Did
they
they
got
get
them out.
naked?
They got their
in
tits out and wrote pussy on it.
They got naked in a church.
Oh, yeah,
I
that was
think
it, yeah.
so. Yeah.
I think it was just general anti-government,
Right, yeah. Freedom of speech.
pro-democracy, because I think by most definitions, Russia is not a democracy.
Well, I noticed. What's your surname?
Novitjenko.
What's the poison that they killed that guy with?
Novichok.
Yeah, my dyslexia. I couldn't separate the words. I was looking at it again. My brain's saying.
We've uncovered.
Yeah, that uncovered the truth. That traveling during that time was slightly problematic with my passport. Yeah.
Oh.
It was not me. No.
I've always said Trump will end up over there eventually. When the police sirens start coming, they'll get him out. They'll sneak over. That lovely PR move that would be the greatest PR move to get the American president into Russia through somewhere else. They'll make out there's a business deal and get him out that way and around, and then he'll sell his soul. They'll give him a building. They'll give him a giant penis to live in. There you go, mate. That's what you wanted.
I still
You're a big
think
man.
they'll cut him just the biggest deal and he'll have to live somewhere in Florida quietly.
No,
To shut
that
up.
Russia will say to him, "Listen, you can have everything you want over here. Come on." And then I said they'll get him over here. Then they'll milk him dry, and they'll say, "Right, okay, now we've got you here, and you've sold your soul. We want to know everything, or you're going back. We want the codes. We know who's who. You're going to tell us everything." Or you're going to send you
They
back on a
probably
plane.
know it all already anyway.
No, that once they got to get the PR. The PR is the big thing with Russia.
Yeah,
You've got to
yeah.
get that out the way. You've got to get the win over America, and then when he's no use, you say, right, we want to know who and where the basement was and what the White House. You tell us everything and just screw. I don't know. I hope it happens just to see his bloody Trump. We haven't mentioned him for a while. Christ, it was like every other show. Well, now he's gone.
I quite liked him. I always thought this whole blonde look, like the Boris Johnson, the Trump, the
Well,
whole.
it's
like,
orange more than blonde.
I think there's a trendsetter.
Yeah, that sort of like wiggy,
floaty.
looking.
Yeah.
Might
Maybe they're
look something.
brothers and they
Cousins,
don't know
yeah.
that.
What they call the infragrante. What's the secret society? The infra. Oh, come on.
Illuminati.
The Illuminati,
Yeah.
something.
The one thing I don't understand what people haven't voiced is that Putin had Botox.
Did
If
he?
you look at his videos
Oh, yeah,
5,
totally.
10 years ago, lots of wrinkles. Now, and no one's talking about it. I mean, I think that's very important, no?
I think that's because no one wants to die.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
What's the thing about him getting in another 20 years? Did that work? He was trying to pass it.
I think the law has been passed now because they have a statute. Russia had a statute of limitations in there of 2
Yeah.
years.
But that was a while ago now.
Statute of limitations, is that right? That be the right term? Anyway, you're limited to 2 terms,
Yeah.
and they changed that, I think.
But so he is now president for 20 years.
No, he still has to.
I think for the next 40 years.
Yeah.
Or whatever, yeah. But
I think they still have
passed.
to go through the performance of
Yeah,
the election.
let's do it. Let's do, yeah. How many did you win?
Yeah.
Oh, there was a one about corruption in different countries. A radio show I listened to, and they were talking about the lengths. Some of the and a lot of it was the African countries. And one of them, like the person that was going to get in to to be the mayor of this place, was landing, and they blocked all the airports up with cars, so the plane couldn't land. So we had to turn back. So the other guy won. Just blocked up like that level of. But the other one, they'd been given pens. They went to the towns where they knew people that were going to be more democratic, and they were using invisible ink pens.
No.
So just that low level, they were doing it. Then they'd sod off, it would vanish, and then they just put things in.
Just like just pranking people.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about me then.
No. So what?
Yeah.
So what is the kind of view of Russians of Putin and of all of that? You know, is there kind of people whisper, or do you even hear about that, or is it just?
To be honest, I'm not. I don't read the news very much. I'm not very clued up on this, but I know that there's the older generation. They love Putin. They still have that mother
You
Russia
need the
in
strong. That's it. It doesn't matter what bad.
They do love that. They do still think that Russia is the center of the universe and everyone's against them. I'm just speaking about my family and friends and sort of But then there is this new Russians. There's new. I don't have anything to do with them. I'm not friends.
That's all going to be in the major cities. Out in the sticks, that's probably going to hold on a few more generations. It's a weird thing to put up. But then again, it's like you're not going to see the good bits. We're in propaganda ourselves. Do you know what I mean? We're seeing what they want to show us. We're not there. So you would be there, and there'll be benefits to being in Russia that are negative, that we think are normal.
I don't think any country.
Every country is,
has good and.
I've always found it fascinating that you would watch a piece of news, and at one point in my life, I'd be spending time between Russia, Moscow, Stockholm, and London, and you see one piece of news, and depending what country I'd be in, it's like watching clearly something different.
Right.
So I just stayed out of politics because I go to Russia, and my granddad's like, Russian won the war, First and Second World War. They're lying to you. They're lying. The history books, it's all a lie. And I was like, Jesus Christ, okay, fine, it's a lie. Then I come back to London and like, yes, we won the war. And then you go to Sweden, if it wasn't up to us, there was
mediating
and I was like, do you know what? I'm just like,
I do find it funny when we talk about winning the war, our little island. You go, I think Russia and fighting on two fronts has a little bit to do with it.
Yeah, I think the thing that annoys is the American view that they won the war. It was like,
the Americans think they did, but I wonder what the German textbook of the war. We were motherfuckers.
They've spent many decades feeling guilt towards to teach their children.
So just be a history of guilt.
Yeah, saying like the shame and like teaching what we did wrong, and they've got things in their army that we don't have in our armies. Like they implemented things to say that I was made to do it. I was following orders. There's laws now in the German army to say you cannot, if you morally think something's wrong and you do it because you've been ordered to, you will be culpable. So you've got that out, but we don't have that.
I think it's to do with social identity. Every country wants to feel great about themselves. It's like we talk about dyslexia and all that things. Sometimes people are so boring, they want to feel important, so they make some shit up, some allergies or intolerances, because it's much more interesting for you being intolerant to something or believing something.
I knew somebody in jail, and he said the amount of people that come in there with intolerances and they're scared of this and that, and it vanishes within a week. Just gone, oh, you don't want milk? Okay, don't have the milk then. Oh, suddenly they can have it. Scared of spiders? Yeah, when they're crawling across your face and just doing this now, where you couldn't even be in a room with it before and you were going to die and you needed your Valium. So
I think in prison you've probably got other things to worry about, yeah. So that might focus.
He didn't seem to. He wasn't too bothered about it. He said it's nice to go and have a change of clothes and I don't have to worry about bills for a few months.
I think that might
can't end on that. Can we end on something better? So what have you? So what have you got? Any acting coming up? Any presenting coming up?
I've just been applying for a shitload of jobs. I've got a few things coming up. So we'll see how that plans out. So you never know.
And Instagram is your main thing at the moment. Do you have a YouTube channel? Or?
I'm too lazy. I'm inherently so lazy having another channel, posting something. And yeah, no, it's just Instagram. Just Instagram. Tat's Fun World.
Fun World. Did we spell it right on there? We put it on there.
Oh, look at that.
We missed out the underscores. So it's Tats.
No, I said leave that out. That wouldn't work.
Oh.
Well, there you go. So anything in the immediate future you want to talk about?
I want to share this T-shirt. Look.
So apparently I'm dramatic.
But look at this fucking spelling. I bought this T-shirt on the website.
A patently.
What the fuck?
Is that not supposed to be like that?
A patently. I didn't know.
Is that supposed to be like
I
this
paid
one?
£15 for this T-shirt.
But is that supposed to
It
be?
was made in China. No.
But it's not a joke.
No, it's not a joke.
Are you? No, that's a joke.
No.
Yeah, it's showing you humour.
So I just thought I'll
No, but it doesn't work with the second half of it's like a non sequitur. The second part doesn't fit the first part. There's no joke.
I think the point is you want something in life, you pay for it, but it still doesn't come out how you want it.
Do you think so? That's the metaphor, is it?
I think.
Did you choose those words, or was it that's what the T-shirt
No,
was?
it was on the website. Apparently, I'm dramatic because my husband says.
Oh,
I'm
right,
dramatic.
that's what you were going for.
And then this arrives, and I put.
But did the image on the website have it spelled correctly?
No, it was correct on the website.
Wow, that's real.
It's printed on a Friday. I just want to get home, mate. Just throw them
believe
through.
it?
Speed the machine up.
Someone had the shakes. Just press.
Do you know what? Right, get this. So there was years ago I was reading this book, and it had about like people that survived certain things, and there was like top 10. And the worst one,
God.
you will not believe this. It was a machine that printed CDs, DVDs, and a guy got caught in the machine, and it dragged him through, and it smashed every part of his body up. Half his brain was gone, and he survived. It smashed all his body up, the stamping, bang, 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 bang. Like he went through the machine.
And what DVD printing did he get on him?
I don't know.
Yeah.
What rating was it?
Just I breathed and turned off the monitor there. Don't
The
know how I did that.
Yeah, I knew a fireman, and he wouldn't want to talk to the things he'd seen. And he said, like, he went to one, it was like horrendous. He said, there was an accident in London, central London, like bikes. And he said the guy had run over, but he'd gone up and into the wheel thing, and he was still alive. And you go, you don't want to be there, like.
So your guy who's gone to the car show and they've checked under that. They should have been like, well, at least there's not a person up here. So
that's horrendous. But I'll leave that on you.
I brought it back.
Yeah, you done well.
I like that.
Bit of humour, well done.
A good ending.
Right, so there you go. So
On that
that's
lovely
basically the show. That's as good as it gets. We've burnt all our bridges. We've got nothing else.
I think we offended everyone and therefore no one because we didn't discriminate.
Yeah, but I wasn't the worst one. I think.
I'd say it's a tie.
And she's a female, so you can't.
I've got
say
nothing
anything.
to lose.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, well, there you go. That was the show. So what we doing next week? Who's on next week? Oh, right, yeah, we've got another Instagram on next week. So there you go. A male.
Fight.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. But listen, it's been great talking to you. Thank you for coming. It was a short notice, and we will have you back on again. You can burn off some more energy.
So I hope so.
Right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Karem,
Cheers,
hit
everyone.
it, brother.
Thanks.